World War II officially ended in August 1945. For the world, the fighting stopped. For one Japanese soldier, it did not. His name was Hiroo Onoda, a second lieutenant in the Imperial Japanese Army. In December 1944, Onoda was deployed to Lubang Island in the Philippines. He was trained at the Nakano School, a program that specialized in intelligence, sabotage, and guerrilla warfare. His mission was to disrupt enemy operations, gather intelligence, and prevent the use of the island's infrastructure by Allied forces. Before being sent out, Onoda received direct orders from his commanding officer. He was not to surrender. He was not to die by suicide, and he was to continue fighting until formally relieved of duty. In early 1945, American and Filipino forces captured Lubang Island. Japanese defenses collapsed quickly. Onoda and 3 other soldiers retreated into the jungle and mountains. From there, they began a long campaign of survival and resistance. When Japan surrendered later that year, leaflets were dropped over the island announcing the end of the war. Onoda and his group examined them carefully. They noticed small inconsistencies and concluded the leaflets were enemy psychological warfare. Their training had prepared them to expect deception. Over the next several years, aircraft dropped newspapers, letters from family members, and photographs from Japan. Loudspeakers broadcast messages urging surrender. Each attempt failed. Onoda believed Japan could not have lost the war so completely and that a counteroffensive would eventually come. The group survived by stealing rice, ambushing supply lines, and killing livestock. They set fires to crops to deny resources to what they believed were enemy forces. In reality, these actions affected local civilians and police. Several people were killed during these encounters. Over time, Onoda's companions were lost. One soldier surrendered in 1950 and returned to Japan. Another was killed in a firefight with local authorities in 1954. The last of Onoda's men died in 1972 during a clash with Philippine police while burning rice fields. From that point on, Hiroo Onoda was completely alone. Despite this, he continued to follow his routine. He maintained his uniform, cleaned his rifle, rationed ammunition, and patrolled the jungle. He kept detailed mental records of enemy movements and weather conditions. To him, the mission had not changed. Japanese authorities never officially abandoned the search for Onoda. Multiple expeditions were sent, but none succeeded in convincing him that the war had ended. In 1974, a Japanese traveler named Norio Suzuki deliberately went to Lubang Island to find Onoda. When the two met, Suzuki explained that Japan was now peaceful and prosperous. Onoda listened, but refused to surrender. He stated clearly that only a direct order from his former commanding officer would end his mission. The Japanese government located Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, who had given Onoda his original orders nearly 30 years earlier. Taniguchi traveled to Lubang and formally relieved Onoda of duty on March 9, 1974. Only then did Onoda accept that the war was over. He surrendered wearing his full uniform, carrying a functioning rifle, ammunition, grenades, and his officer's sword. He had remained combat-ready for nearly 3 decades. The Philippine government granted him a pardon for crimes committed during his time in hiding, recognizing that he had acted under the belief that he was still at war. Onoda returned to Japan in a country transformed by peace, technology, and economic growth. He later stated that he felt confusion and loss, realizing that much of his life had passed while the world moved on. Hiroo Onoda did not continue fighting because he was unaware of reality. He continued because he believed obedience was absolute. For him, the war did not end in 1945. It ended when his orders did.